I know. Okay.
I knew you would be okay. Hey, Brown Mamas, welcome back to our Black Motherhood Uninterrupted series. Um, we have been having some great conversations with mamas about life in their 40s, life with the P.R.I.D.E, life during this time period. um, and just what it means for Black women to continue to live life as uninterrupted as we can, because we know that there's constantly interruptions to life. And today I have a woman with me who I've admired from afar for quite some time. She's many things. She's a creative, she's an artist, she's a rapper, she's a community worker, she's a whole bunch of things. Her name is Medina Jackson, and I will let her tell y'all who she is. Welcome to the
Hey, thank you. Thank you. And can I just say that the admiration is mutual? Like, I always see you doing dope things. I love the community you're building. You living out loud. You are like regrouping and restoring and doing all the things. And you're such a model and example of just vulnerability and transparency. So it's mutual.
Thank you, sis.
For sure.
So what's making Medina joyous right now? What is Medina living through, and how is she finding joy in the midst of living?
Ooh. So, right now, this moment in time is actually really a time of uncertainty, which is hard for me. It's because I've been somebody throughout my life who has kind of plotted my steps. And this past couple of years, between the uncertainty and the socio-political environment, which has impacted my work, and the uncertainty about what's going on with my work, the future of my work, supporting, young Black children and families and communities, just not knowing where that's going right now, based on funding and all the things that a lot of nonprofit leaders are dealing with and struggling with. And life has also brought me different like physical changes when it comes to perimenopause and just working on my pre-diabetes. So just like getting my health together. So it's been like a very uncertain time, which has caused me to build the muscle to live into and lean into uncertainty, so I've really had to plan out what I can, but also embrace that I don't know what things are going to look like 6 months from now or 3 months from now. So the best thing that I can do is just, what is the best next step? And when I get to the next step, I will determine what the next step is from living inside that step. And that's, like I said, it's been an adjustment. I've had to
That's the whole part.
That's it. That's it. Just like, okay, like, my steps are going to order themselves by choice, decision by decision, and just learning to manage what I can and really work on releasing what I cannot manage or what I cannot control. That's been challenging, but also strengthening as well, because when you do something new, then it's just like, oh, I didn't know I could do that thing. Right. I didn't know I could exist within that space. So, and I'm okay, like I'm here, I'm living, I'm breathing, I'm all right now. So that's another life lesson for me. In terms of just what brings me a sense of joy, a lot of things do. I love dates, and when I say dates, I mean all kinds of dates. Right. Dates on dates. So I love solo dates. I love friend dates. I love family dates. I love romantic dates. I love all kinds of activities. So that brings me a lot of joy. I love, creative writing. I completed a year of writing every day, 3 pages a day of
you whatever. Did. Don't they call that the morning pages? You did?
I did the morning pages, the Artist Way book. Yep, I did that. And I did the Artist Way as part of a book club. I don't know if I would have finished it on my own.
Good idea.
Yes. Come on, Brown Mamas. Yes. Or whatever, whoever.
You need it. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yes. Coming together. because once you start doing the book, you start kind of proselytizing about it, like, oh, it's changing my life in all these ways. But getting together with people, even if it's just one person, once a week, one chapter per week. Don't try to like read through or speed through the book. It's time to do the book. And through that writing process, it was really helpful, especially going through like tumultuous times and uncertainty and all that, because it was a time and space for me to just like vomit on the page, just like dump down whatever's in here and whatever's in here, whatever's in my body, whatever's in my energy, it hits the page. So that ranged from creative like story writing, which is something that I didn't do. I'm historically a poet and I've been an MC, but I've never written stories. I've written like 7 short stories to poems.
That's so dope.
Yeah, but mostly it's been like my reflections. I wrote a letter to my son who's 16 about my hopes for him. I've written emails. I've mapped out courageous conversations, workshops, like anything that's on my mind, letters of support for funding, anything that's on my mind, heart, energy hits the page. So I did that for a year, and that was very, very helpful in just having the time with myself every day, dedicating that time to myself every day, and helping me come to a space of clarity and really understanding myself more and what I'm experiencing moment to moment, day to day.
That's a portal, girl. You created a portal for yourself. And I love when women do that, because it's like I feel like that's one of the most beautiful things about this time period is being able to center back into yourself so that you can figure out where that portal energy lives for you.
Yeah.
In that yoga mat. Like that, I open up and can center. And there's something about movement that I never recognized until my 40s. It really helps me to process and helps me to live more out loud when I'm able to move emotion and thoughts through my body. I actually just signed up to take singing lessons.
Ooh.
I'm so excited, girl.
I love that.
I'm so excited. And I'm not Beyonce I'm not Jill.
You are you.
So we don't know where we're going with this.
Have you always wanted to sing or no? Is it new or?
I've always, so when I was a kid, me and my sisters, we always had a singing group. Like that was our thing. We had a singing group. And I was always the lead singer.
Yes, come on, Coco.
And we would be in the living room, doing all
the routines. Okay.
All the routines. Harmonizing. Now I don't know if we was actually harmonizing. We did what we thought. And then my grandfather used to be like on Sundays, he would be like, okay, girls, because him and my grandmother used to throw these big parties. And so he would be like, okay, girls, y'all gonna be an act at the party. And they would have these huge puppets that they hired. This is all Black folks, just beautiful Blackness. And they would hire these folks to come in with these puppets and put on these plays, and then we would perform our whatever it was. And so singing is just, it feels good in my soul because it reminds me of being a kid. And like you said, I just feel like when I'm singing, when I'm on my yoga mat, I'm processing a great many things. I'm processing injustice in the world. I'm processing what is happening, at the White House, but also what is happening in my life as I'm trying to transition from Pittsburgh to Tampa and back and forth, and all the craziness that has come up in my soul because of that. So I feel like it's just, to me, it's portal energy. It's like getting into that place where you're centering. It's like selfishness to become selfless to me, And even like you're writing, one of the things that you were writing is like letters of support, letters about injustices, letters, to help your organization to get more funding, whatever it was. It's like by you centering your needs on a day-to-day basis through those morning pages, it was a conduit for you to do so many other things in the world. And I think sometimes as women, we forget to give ourselves that uninterrupted time, not realizing how valuable it is to the world when we do that.
Yes. in addition to the writing, I also got back into just like shooting hoops. Like I used to play basketball. I used to be an athlete when I was younger. So I did that to move my body. And just like that's a joy practice. Like I just enjoy doing it. And I was doing it every day for a while. And people were like, oh, you're going to get in the league. You're going to do this and that. And I've been, I think, so goal directed throughout my life that now it's just like, yo, I just want to do it because I enjoy it. If something comes from it, okay, cool. But I just enjoyed the practice of doing it, you know? So I was doing that. And then I was also walking as well, still doing that. And then, you know, learning about my health challenges. It was like a, you know, a come to justice, come to something moment where it's just like, okay, girl, you got to make a whole 180 here. You got to save your own life. And so, you know, now those practices, those joy practices have also led me to physical wellness strategies that work for me because I want it to be sustainable. I have some goals, but I'm not trying to like do any type of crash dieting. I'm not trying to do any, you know, harm to myself while trying to help myself. So it's a 15-minute warm up of basketball, which is fun for me. Then I do 4 days a week strength training. I have my plan, my regimen for that because I needed a plan, girl. I can't be chaos working out, not knowing what the hell I'm doing. I needed a plan. Okay, so four days a week of strength training, and then every day I do walking. It's not 10,000 steps because that's 2.5 hours of walking. But you know, I'll do a couple miles a day, and I'm seeing some progress. So the joy practice, you know, integrates into the life-saving practice, which has been working well for me so far.
And I think that, you know, that's a misconception around exercise is that you need all the time. You really don't. If you do about 20 minutes, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm learning too, like you don't have to do everything at once. You know, if you have like a lot of shit going on, then it might be like, okay, I got to do da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and it can be very overwhelming. But, you know, for me, I just started. Like I had the basketball and I was already walking. Then I was able to change my eating habits. Thankfully, I'm a very good cook, especially on the vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian tip. So I know how to make healthy, whole foods for myself, you know. And then, you know, maybe I'll revisit. So I do that. And then maybe I'll look into, you know, more of a calorie deficit if I need to. And then, okay, if I need to look into supplements, okay, I'll do that. But it's not like doing everything at once. It's like having a place to start and then seeing how it's working for me and then adding or subtracting, you know, based on that. And that's my approach to life right now. You know, that's my approach to life. Just, you know, I'm just in it. I'm just in it right now.
That makes perfect sense to me. How much I'm 43.
Yeah, I'm 47.
You're 47. So how much girl, when I first turned 40, I was like, this is horrible. I ain't gonna lie.
Wait, why?
Not because of the age, because I don't give a damn about age. But like, I feel like I lost my mind temporarily. I know I did. Like, when I look back on 41, I'm like, yo, you literally lost your mind a little bit. Because it's like, this was way more traumatic than 20 to 30. For me, 30 to 40 was like, I don't like none of it and none of y'all. And I don't want to be around it anymore. I don't want to be around y'all anymore. I want a whole new life. And I was really ready to just pull up the rug from up underneath everything and just whoosh. I'm finally simmering down, getting closer to 44. But I truly am starting to understand like the fuck it 40s because I don't care. Like one of my girlfriends, she was asking me about another friend coming to visit, and she was like, I really don't feel like having company anymore. And I was like, so why are you doing it? I was like, I will tell you no any day. I don't care just because my hair feels too tight on up in the ponytail. I don't want you over here, and you can't come over here, and it ain't never happening. So I'm just learning. For the first time in my life, it's like an unabashed no. Mm-hmm. I don't.
Yeah. What's the we do not care? What was you gonna say? What's your question?
I just asked, how did it go for you?
Oh, snap. I mean, okay. So first, what I learned from a perimenopause standpoint, but I'm gonna go off that, is that because I just learned this recently, just like when you're going through perimenopause, a lot of times when you have older women and they're kind of going through cougar puberty or whatever, there's a less of a, there's more of a I don't give a fuckness, because like your brain doesn't have the space or as much space for all that contorting and people pleasing. So I guess it's biological, or it's what's happening in our minds. We don't have the space to do all of that. So we are at this stage of life much more, I guess, direct or matter of fact, and perhaps less self-abandoning. So for me, the 40s brought a lot of transition. It brought a lot of juiciness. I transitioned from, being, a house partner, if you will, with the family in the house, and me being a working mother, in a long-term, 17-year partnership and relationship, to transitioning out of that when I was, I think I was 42 going on 43. And I had, I've always been a self-reflective person. I've always been into watching all the shows, the Iyanla Fix My Life, the Oprahs, ever since I was little, I was into just like personal growth and development and all that. So came to a point where we needed to transition that. And we're still a very close family, A1 co-parenting, all of that, very, 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 very close. But I was living by myself for the first time since my 20s.
How was that? Or how is it?
Yeah. Well, it was different, because at first, and it took some work to get there. It took a lot of courage, because you with somebody for a long time, and this person's a provider, even though we're both working. So it's just like, yo, am I gonna be okay? Are we gonna be okay? Is it gonna be okay? I don't know if it's gonna be okay, right? Is my child gonna be okay? Are we gonna be all right? But financially, and then you recognize how much, and I'm not saying for my situation, but just like how much folks stay in relationships because of financial security. And so from between 2020 and now, I've worked 2 to 3 jobs. I took on more projects so that I could stack some cash, so I would be able to live on my own. So it wasn't like a leap with not knowing what's going on. I had to plan my steps. And at first it was like, okay, space. I got the space to do this and that. And I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. And I always tell him this, my son's father, that he, it wasn't a question about where our son would be. Because, he's always been somebody who was like, I will have my child, So when he was 11 at the time, so we knew he was going to be there, but we just we live 3 blocks from each other. So that's
beautiful.
So present. And, so like we did that. And at first it was like, yes, space. And then you start to miss things. You miss another key coming into the door. You miss the, activity that's in the house. Right. And then I also work from home as well. So that's a lot of like time with myself. So I have to be very intentional about, social interactions, time with friends, time with people. And I say this too, in terms of having just the space and time to tap into yourself, discover yourself, take some time you need, rest practices, all that. I am mindful that if you're someone where your life circumstances are like, you're in the hustle and bustle, you got to work 2-3 jobs to keep the lights on, you got children, it may be really challenging to find that time. So I just want to acknowledge that everyone does not, based on their circumstances, have the space and time to do that. And I know that what I needed was the space. So by my son's father making that decision, but him taking that on, I'm always grateful to him, because I'm like, I've been able to have the space to really transition into being the woman that I really want to be and have wanted to be. Right. But I didn't feel like I had the space to be prior to. So I have that time for self-exploration. I'm still working 2 jobs, but some of the day-to-day responsibilities that I had before, and I'm still the activities coordinator of the family. I'll be doing all the things, but that space has given me the time to explore myself. I think you mentioned in the intro, like I do this and I do that. I do consider myself a multi-hyphenate, and I've been able to, from a relational standpoint, explore like orientations that I was in the back of my mind, and I didn't feel like I had the space I didn't feel like I could really do it. So like, say for instance, I'm in the practice of like polyamorous relating. And so that's like, I know, it's a whole
I like it. I like it a lot. And I'm like, this is very interesting. And as a Sagittarian woman, I'm a fire sign.
Yeah.
I think it's all possible.
Yeah.
I think it's all possible. Because
Yeah. And right. And so what I'll say about that is like, and for anybody who doesn't know what it is, it's the desire, capacity, and skills to be in more than one intimate relationship at a time. And there's like, I've done like panels on it and stuff. There's more to explore there. But it was something that I did.
There's whole communities of people who are living this way, joyously, out loud, in love, out of love, in love, and out of love,
and there's multiple ways for it to look. It's not just like it's not just a triad. It's not just a dude and two girlfriends. Like there's multiple ways of doing it, right? So I also am with that, because that's a thing for me to say, right? Being who I am. I've written about it before, and like I said, I've been on panels about it. But sometimes, part of when we were talking about, being whimsical, right? And there's a definition for that. But part of my whimsy is just like not boxing myself in and allowing myself to like explore that erotic energy within myself. And erotic energy is just a desire. Just like, what is the aliveness within you? What is keeping you alive? What is keeping you going, right? And so I am striving to be someone who, I can be the community good sister who loves the children and does all the things, community cultural worker. And I'm also on this type time. And I'm also on this type time. And I'm also on this type time. And just allowing myself to explore all those aspects of myself, because you only got one life, and I'm coming this like, I don't know how long we got, climate change is here. I don't know how long we got. So
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. And I hope this is something that I've been struggling with since entering my 40hood. Why do people feel like they need to own other people?
That they need to own other people?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like you don't need to.
Yeah. It's how we've been conditioned and socialized to even have that, not just through, monogamy. And, I'm not anti-monogamy or whatever. I'm for, whatever works for you.
Whatever works for you.
Whatever works for you. But we're also that way about like friendships, family members, where we have that sense of possessiveness and ownership versus like, a term in like polyamorous space is compersion, when you feel joy with someone, a partner feeling joy. And sometimes that joy can be like with other people. You feel joyful when your partner is feeling joyful with other people, right? So from a romantic standpoint, I wouldn't say that I'm there, but in terms of like friendships, family members, like, the whole practice on the romantic tip has helped me to let go of a lot of that, that possessiveness or that sense of ownership versus like, okay, we have a reciprocal, like, interdependent, co-responsibility, self-interested vibe here, right? Not selfishness or selflessness, but self-interested. Like I can care about you and I can care about myself at the same time, and I can hold both. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. I didn't make it up. I heard it from some man some time ago, and it stuck with me. Just that's the goal for me, to just like, how can I And that's the goal for partnership, friendship, anything. Because I've been a self-abandoner. I've been a
Mhm.
people pleaser. You know, I'm in recovery for all that through my practices over time. You know, so it's just like, how can I maintain my dedication and sense of self and dedication to myself while also, you know, loving and caring for and being in reciprocal energy with other people that, you know got it for me as well.
Whenever I see you, see, it's doing the sound thing again.
Oh, you a little bit. I can hear you. I can understand you. You a little. It's a little
Okay.
muffled now.
I'm just going to keep it minimal so that way your audio stays very clear. But whenever I see you, I think the word that comes to mind is courage. Like I just see you as a very courageous being and just in how you live your life. And so, but I'm always wondering like what principles does she keep that allows her to maintain this level of courage? Because even stepping out of a relationship after 17 years, that takes so much bravado and so much psyching yourself up. And so I'm just wondering, how do you do this? How do you maintain this level, this frequency of just courage?
Wow. Thank you for seeing that in me. You know, I don't always feel courageous. Sometimes
You
I
look
be
like
scared
it.
as hell, girl. Sometimes I be scared as fuck. I'll be afraid. But you know, that like a shift like that, it took time. It took time of understanding. Like there was like a moment, right, where my son was 7 at the time, and we were all supposed to go on this trip to New York. My son was cutting up. He was being disrespectful. He was talking to me crazy. And so I was like, oh, we're not doing that. I'm not going to be participating in this. So you are going to go with your father and uncles, and you're going to get some manhood training, and I'm going to do my thing. Okay. And so that was the first weekend that I had to myself. And in that weekend, it was like, yo, what do I want? What do I want to do? I don't even know what I want to be doing. Who am I? What do I like? I don't know. You know, so it took like years of me figuring out like some next steps. Like, okay, this is what I want. This is what I don't want. And I don't want this enough to remain. And I don't know what the future looks like, but I know, again, like going back to that, my next step is this. And there are some things that I want to explore, you know, but it was just like very gradual over time. So I would say, in principle, just like always checking in with myself and taking a pause. Like when you was talking about like the no is real, the no is strong earlier, like I've had to get a sense of what my boundaries are. And I feel it out moment to moment, situation by situation, choice by choice. It's going to be a yes, it's going to be a no, it's going to be a I don't know, it's going to be a maybe later, but I'm much more comfortable, you know, responding that way. Right. So it's checking in with myself as a practice and principle for me, taking that pause instead of just responding from a space of trying to make somebody happy or trying to make somebody like me, because that's what people pleasing is. And people pleasing is actually quite manipulative because you're trying to contort yourself. You're manipulating yourself so that you can manipulate other people into liking you. Right.
Did you ever hear that song by Alicia Keys? And she says, I've been trying to be everything I thought you wanted me to be. I've been trying to something. And then she says, and now you falling for a person that's not even me.
Period. I don't know that song, but period. Exactly.
I love that song.
Exactly. So that's one. And then another principle I say is I don't know if you heard of pleasure activism.
So I got all of her books except Pleasure Activism. I said it's on my list this year. I'm gonna read it.
So from what I see and have observed, you're already on that type time already.
Oh, okay.
But I would say out of all her books, and that came out in 2018, right? So I was trying to, that was when I went to the yoga teacher training with Yoga Roots on Location. So I was just trying to figure some things out. It was some cognitive dissonance, like, okay, you're living this way, but there are other things inside of you that are not making sense. And you need to
I just don't want nobody getting me together right now. I've had enough getting together.
Look, listen. We gotta make it make sense. So that book changed my life. That book really shifted my life. So pleasure activism is really, I would say, a guiding and organizing principle for my life, where again, I have the space. I don't know if I'm always have the space, but while I got it, I have the space to check in with that generative life energy and aliveness with myself to say, okay, what is it that you want to do, and who do you want to be, right? Because the doing is an extension of the being, because I don't want to always be doing. Okay, I do a lot of doing, I do a lot of shit, but I'm also recognizing a lot of good things too. But I'm just like trying to attend more to my being as well. And I think another principle is just really, sometimes if you're driven by work, or you organize your life around work, you can sacrifice your relationships. And it was my father, who had a couple of near-death experiences. He's in his 80s now. He has like health challenges, but he'd be intubated and then he'd come back with visions. And he was just like, I mean, it's common sense stuff that you hear, but he was just like, yeah, man, like, it's all about your relationships. It's all about the love that you have in your life. And he's one of them, Marine, Vietnam War, strong, silent, Southern guys, gentlemen, strong, silent types. But that's what he came back with. So that's just a reminder for me, especially in this moment in time where like I do good work. I want to continue doing good work. And at the same time, in terms of like asks of me, I don't want to do more work or more.
I don't want to do more work. Say it for the people in the back, sis.
I don't want to do more work or things that feel like work. It just makes me tired, So I'm recognizing that I've had some burnout. And it's just a tough time to do the type of work that I do. So it feels like I'm pushing a boulder up a hill. And with the health stuff going on, I have had to shift my orientation to centering myself and my being and my wellness. And it's still a work in progress. I got doctor's appointments to schedule right now, like 5 of them. And, I've sent emails for work before that. I've accomplished work projects before that, right? So it's still a work in progress, but I am here for, and it's not that I don't want to do things or do things with people, but I want the things to be from a space of like mutual interest or friendship, sisterhood, brotherhood, siblinghood, from a space of joy. Like I'm here for fun. I'm here. I will always make time for fun. I will always make time for creativity or things that just like fit reciprocally or collectively or individually fill me up. But I'm not really here for anything that feels like work, anything additional. Now, I might be on the job search. So, I gotta, but right now I got two very fulfilling, robust job situations. And I have enough of that, but I want to make more space for the other things. I want to invite it. And I've also learned that I gotta, sometimes you gotta create what you want to receive. Right? And sometimes you gotta be the initiator. So, and sometimes, I got a teenage son, he's 16. And so he's like turning more towards like friends and girls and shit like that, activities. And so because I'm not the custodial parent, even though I see him like, it's not even regulated, but just multiple times a week. We were just at the movies last night, just on some quality time. But I recognize I have to come for my son, And so when I think of, I want to expand my relationships. Like I want to expand my friendship circle just to have fun with folks, mutual interest with folks. And so I have like my core friends, and then there are folks who are like kind of outside of that ring of friends who like we might get together every now and then or whatever. And then I'm open for new friends as well, you know. So, and I won't say I have chosen to initiate some of those relationships or initiate those connections, which doesn't always feel comfortable. Sometimes it's like dating when you're trying to like, and I'm less of an initiator on the dating side. I'm still traditional in certain ways. But like when it comes to, you know, more platonic situations, it'll be like, you know, oh, like we have some things in common. You want to take a walk together one day, or you want to grab some tea one day, or you want to chat or go bowling or whatever, you know. So I've approached people who I've been in there where we were in each other's worlds, but haven't like fully gelled or connected, you know, and that could be hit or miss. You might hang out with somebody one time, or it might be like, you know, repeat things, or it might be a sustaining, you know, friendship that develops into a sisterhood or whatever, you know. So that's something that's important to me at this time.
All of those things, it's interesting because it's like for you being brave is a lot about being patient and measuring and understanding where the change is coming from versus a lot of people, when they think about bravery, they think about like impulse and just making a decision and just doing it scared. But what you're saying is the change is much more contemplative and it's much more about tapping into the essence of who you are and really understanding why the change is necessary. And I love that.
Yeah, that's my disposition. I don't know if you know about those. You probably do those personality tests, those assessments, the DISC and stuff. And I mean, I hate those because I'm just like, well, I'm a little bit of everything. But I'm largely an S, which is somebody who's like very reliable, contemplative, thoughtful. You know, and there are pros and cons with that, but yeah, if I have the space to, I like to take my time so that I can make a decision that I'm really like happy with and can stand 10 toes down in. Even if it's the wrong decision, if I can make the decision from a sense of like integrity and ethics, and I can stand on business with it, then you know, I'll do it. But yeah, I'm blessed to make like the brash decisions, not the brash decisions, but the rush decisions or the impulsive decisions, unless I have to. You know, sometimes you gotta figure it the fuck out in the moment.
I love that you're able to live so courageously with contemplation. I love that. I know that you said your son is 16 now.
Yeah.
Girl, I have a 16-year-old, a 17-year-old, and a 24-year-old. And just watching them grow up it's just been something else. Like I didn't imagine that they would. I knew who they were, but it's like parts of their personality surprise you. And you know, watching them navigate the world now without me in many instances has been both a challenge, but it's also been very, very rewarding to see what I'm teaching them come up in their everyday lives. What have been some of the moments of parenting this now older child who will be a young adult eventually? You know, what have been some of the surprises, joys, challenges? How are you living through that right now?
Yeah, well, you know, I didn't know that when your child turns around 11, they just become a fucking alien. Like they just become a completely different person.
They do. They do. In fact,
who are you? What have you done with my son? You know. So that was a surprise, you know. Yeah, but I mean, junior high, you know, and I hated junior high, generally speaking. But junior high,
period, all of it.
Oh yeah, listen, okay. Junior high, along with like all the, you know, the developmental changes and the chemical changes and the hormonal changes, and then you got all these kids who going through all that shit, and they all in the pot together and having to interact and try to, you know, maintain themselves. You know, that was a little tough. Yeah. You know, that was a little tough because he, you know, we had raised him and oriented him a certain way, and You know, he was a child with a lot of empathy, and care and all these things. And then junior high comes, and it's just like, you know, you just start seeing the subtle changes. Like, okay, oh, you want to cut your locks. Oh, you want to do this like them. Oh, instead of skateboarding, you want to do football. You never played football a day in your life. You know, so, and then just all these other personality changes where it's just like, you know, it was we definitely had some moments in junior high where, you know,
I'm sure
I strive to be mindful and communicative, but you know, I have another level as well. You know, I try to maintain, but I have another level. So we definitely had a couple moments where I'm driving. We were driving in the car, almost home, and he was just, you know, he was coming at me sideways, and I had to pull over. Who the F are you talking to? And I did it.
Listen, boys, sometimes you gotta.
I had to buck up a little bit, and then he, you know, he had never had a spanking, anything like that in his life, but he definitely saw another side of mama that, you know, scared him a little bit, you know. And my intention is always to communicate, let's be in dialogue, but like, yeah, you was out of pocket, so I need you to know that, like, you can't be out of pocket with me.
Sometimes they just treat you like you're a girl, and you be like, oh, I'm not just a girl.
Right.
Get
right.
it. Get
yourself
together.
Get yourself together. Get yourself together. You know, so we've had to me, we've just, a lesson I learned from my own mother, you know, where to this day I can crawl up on her bed and, you know, tell her anything that's going on with my life. I learned just communication, just stay in communication. You know, he's not going to tell you everything. He's going to do some shit in secret, and then he may or may not tell you about, because there's some things that I still haven't told my parents, you know, and just trying to just stay with him and not let him go, but also, you know, give him the space to figure out who he wants to be, right? So it's like you come in with our orientation as your parents, and then you've had all this experience, you know, with other kids who are different than you, who have different life experiences than you. Some of that shit you bring it home, and it's just like, oh, where you get this from? You know, and then having to deconstruct, and then plus social media as well, and those algorithms, and, you know, the manosphere and the red pill, the black pill community, and having to contend with all those things that are targeting our boys specifically. You know, that
could be a whole conversation about what's targeting these boys online. The red, what do they call it? The red pill?
Yeah, the red pill community. And when black people, or specifically black men, do it, it's called the black pill community. You know, so we have to do a lot of deconstruction. I've had to learn to pick and choose my battles, because there was a point where, like, everything, especially like with the work that I'm doing around like race and, you know, equity and social justice, right? So if you saying something, I'm gonna catch it, right? Right. But then I recognize that, okay, the more that I do that, the less he'll want to open up to me. So I've had to like pick and choose the times when to really lean in. So, you know, I think he's integrating, right? Like he's integrating all the things, like how we raised him, to some of the things that the ways of, you know, the environment and the youth that he's been around, and he's integrating it authentically within himself to be who he wants to be, but it's still a work in progress. He's playing sports, he's an athlete, and he's a dope photographer, sports photography, event photography right now. So I'm just trying to stay with him in it and continue to come for him. And also, you know, not just for him, but just like all of our boys, especially in particular, but just kind of working on empathy, because this is a time where like you got very low empathy, sociopath, psychopathic people like in charge right now, right? And because of all the manosphere stuff and just the general environment and social media, it's creating a lot of low empathy environments that our children are taking in. So I'm having to call him to like his former self, his child self at times, and just like, I remember when you cared about this. I remember when you had so much love and care for these people, and and just that's a work in progress in trying to continue to instill the importance of empathy. And I think that's a thing for all of our children, especially our boys.
I agree.
Yeah.
You know, I have my 24-year-old on the other end of, I have the 16-year-old and I have the 24-year-old. And what I would say is that times don't last always. When they finally do go out into the real world and they
Girl.
start experiencing things.
How do you listen? Because I know once you sign up to be a parent, you're signing up for like fear and anxiety. So, once they become however age they are when they're out on their own, 18 or older, that's another level of fear, because then it's just like, oh no, you don't have to call me. You don't have to check in with me. You don't have to share your location. Where are you? Are you alive? Are you making a decision?
It's a lot to get used to, Medina. That's what I will tell you.
Yeah.
With my oldest son, when we first moved down to Tampa, he didn't want to come. So he stayed in Pittsburgh. And every night I would almost worry myself sick, because I'd be like, where is he? What is he doing? Did he eat? It was just rough. It was very rough. And he struggled. He surely struggled because he didn't know how to take care of himself. And I kept telling him that. I was like, you don't know how to take care of yourself. Like, you need guidance still. But he's a different kid. That's what I will say.
Yeah.
That year of time, he learned so much. And he's back with us now temporarily. He's actually about to move out again. And the level of, like you said, empathy he has for me and his dad now, level of gratitude, it all just like supercharged, because he went out. I remember he called me one day and he said, Mom, I really understand what you mean. You used to always say that I wasn't special to everybody else. And now I understand that I'm only special to y'all. And I was like, yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Everybody else is the person.
Yeah, right.
And so I think, there is a difference between them as teenagers and then them when they actually go out into the world.
Yeah.
And they experience some things.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I'm not, I asked him, I was like, yeah, so when you're off wherever you're going to be, could you at least maybe for like the first year, can you just send me a I'm alive text every day just to let me know you're good? And he was like, Mom, I'm not doing that. So it's gonna be
they're not gonna do that. And they get to a point where now what my son did do is like 4 months in, I was like, yo, I need to know where you're at so I can sleep at night. So he shared his location with me. But I mean, he got to the point where he told me stop calling him. He was like, Mom, this is too much. Like, stop. He's like, I'll check in. I promise you I'll check in every week, but I need you to stop. Like, it's too much. So I had to stop.
Yeah. I feel myself being like the too much.
I mean, you're going to get there because it's going to, like, your heart is somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it's different. Like you said, he's around the corner with his dad right now. So that's different. Yeah. When they are out on their own, no parental figure, and you're like, I remember you left your drawers in the bathroom on the floor. How could you possibly this be? Or get here on time? Or, and then all the interruptions from police, from crazy bosses. Like, we had to deal with crazy bosses with my son. Working conditions that were not good, educators in their lives who at the end of the day don't like Black men.
Yeah.
I mean, just all of the things you have to deal with, but you have to remember as the parent that this is life for them. So they must learn to navigate it. They must, and you have to learn how to guide and not strangle,
Yes.
That's what you be wanting. Girl, so many times I'm like, well, give me his number, call him.
Yeah. Right.
And he won't do it again after he talked to me. But he's like, no, I don't want that. I gotta let me figure this out for myself. So girl, it's a balancing act.
Yeah, it's there's this at the office that my program is situated, there's this long-term motto in terms of like community programming, based on our particular motto of just like doing for, doing with, and cheering on. And so I've taken that and applied that to my son of just like there's a space of life where I'm doing for, then in a space of life we're doing with, and then the space of life where I'm cheering you on. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of in the doing with, cheer on, but I have to transition myself from the doing for,
because they be gone. They already at cheering you on. You the one, we be the one stuck.
Or just you don't want to see your child like have to go through unnecessary strife if there's something that you can do to prevent it, or from little things, from giving you a ride here or wherever to something big. But I just have to constantly remind myself that he has to learn these lessons, he has to experience these consequences, and he has to develop the muscle to do things on his own. We'll be there to support him, but like he has to be in a space to be able to do certain things on his own. So I'm having to be like, just with certain things, just like, okay, instead of me making an appointment, okay, you can make the appointment. Instead of me filling out this form, you can fill out this form. Just make sure it's legible. But and then I also have to work on not being like a hawk, watching them doing it like that. So the process of holding on and letting go and just going in between that, it's a real learning experience for me, But he's a cool kid.
My second son, I don't do nothing. I'd be like, he need to do everything. Make the doctor's appointment for he's going to school, and he did all his fast food stuff by himself. I was like,
okay,
you tell me when you're done.
Yeah.
Because my oldest son, God bless his heart, but my baby because that was my first. And so I did everything. I'm like, he don't need to do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take care of it. So with my other two, I'm like, you got to figure it out. You got to go to online classes. You need to sign yourself up. You need to get to work, and you live around the corner. You work around the corner. You got to figure that out, my friend.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's like you handicap them, and then they don't realize they're handicapped until something happens.
Yeah.
That puts them in a certain predicament. So,
Yeah. I'm having I'm trying to have that perspective, and he's expressed interest in driving, and so it ain't gonna be my car, but
no, because all my friends' kids with my oldest son, all of our kids that was the same age wrecked their cars within the same 2-3 months.
Yeah, it ain't gonna be my car. I like my car. I want to scratch or scrape. If it's gonna be a scratch or scrape, I want to put it on there. But I told them, I was just like, well, you can study there's a test online to study to get your permit. You can do that, but I'm not going to lead that. I have contact information for a driving school because I don't want to teach nobody how to drive. That just is gonna make me too anxious. It's just gonna be a terrible experience for us both. Okay, I don't want to do it, but I have that. So when you're ready, you let me know, and then we'll handle it. So trying to just handle things more like that versus me trying to press him to do a certain thing, especially if he says he wants to do it.
That makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, you do it, brother.
My grass. Why I'm trying to. Can you hear them cutting this grass out here?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
Not really.
All right. Well, I think that's all the questions that I have. So what's going to be my last question before we get on out of here? Let's just go back to your work for a little bit, because we're both in the space where we're doing work for populations of people that are not valued in this country. What has it been like doing that work in this climate, and how are you still finding value in the work? Because I know that the people that do this type of work don't do it for money. That's just not, because there ain't a whole lot of money in it. But it is nice to get paid.
Oh yeah.
So when you ain't getting paid, which you should be getting paid, how are you still deriving value from the work? And especially when the payment not only comes from, a paycheck, but it also comes from the ecosystem seeing value in the work enough to invest in it.
Yeah. Well, I got like a couple answers for that. So one is, which kind of leans back into some of the things that we talked about, right? So in terms of like pay, like I'll do some things for free if I'm not tripping and I'm cool, I'm comfortable, and it brings me joy, right? Then I'll do that. Um, and also, my work around like for the past 20 years of my life, I've worked there's a sister named Ayana Zaire Cotton, and she has this podcast for the world builders. I think you'd really like it. It's kind of for creatives or creative people, but I feel everybody's a creator to me. Every single person on this planet is a creator. It's not just related to like arts, but we're always creating something. It's just about what you're creating or manifesting with your life force energy. You're always creating. And so she has this document going into like 4 quadrants, and I can't remember the top 2, but the bottom 2, one is your quadrant of validation, and the other is your quadrant of desire. So my quadrants of validation have been my work around youth, the intersection of youth, families, arts, race, equity, community engagement, cultural work, family engagement work, right? Those are the things that I've been doing in a myriad of ways over the past 20 something years. And that work has been very purpose driven and mission aligned. For me, the autobiography of Assata Shakur kind of got me here, as well as my experiences at Berkeley High in Berkeley, California, which is where I'm from, got me here of just being able to experience adults who really saw and connected with and engaged with Black youth in ways that brought the best out of them, that educed them, right? That brought out that which was already present, which is the root word of education. So that is very, very much so fulfilling work between being the director of the P.R.I.D.E program, positive racial identity development and early education, and being able to employ all of my skills around creative production and community education, all of that, and then being a co-facilitator of the Black Transformative Arts Network, where we support Black and Africana creatives, youth artists, and teaching artists to provide them with opportunities to learn, opportunities to teach, opportunities to showcase their abilities, and some financial support as well. So it feels really good to be able to do this work, especially in this time. It's always going to be needed, right? It's always going to be needed, whether racism exists or not, and racism ain't going nowhere. It's always going to be needed, and we're always going to need spaces for us to be affirmed in our identities, and to be loved on and accepted and fortified by each other, so that we can be the best that we can be as Black people, Black children, Black families. So that's a big aspect of my life. And it's been great to do that work. And, like I said, based on funding, that work is in jeopardy. However, I know that just how I'm made up, I'm going to always do something in that area. Like if I needed to take another job that was in some other areas, not against my ethics or morals, but if it was some, mundane, I don't know, just something different, because I feel like I have transferable skills. If I needed to do something else to sustain my livelihood, I know I'm going to always be doing and be dedicated to Black communities and doing something in that area, whether I get paid for it or not. And, going back to those quadrants, there's a quadrant of validation, which is all the stuff I just mentioned. And then there's a quadrant of desire. And the quadrant of desire is those areas of your life where it's like a longing within yourself, but perhaps you just don't have the time or haven't made the time or don't have the capacity to just like really fully pull it out and manifest something, fully. So I have other things I want to do as well. I have like dreams that I want to make into realities. I want to go to culinary school, just to do it, I have dreams of starting a vegan and vegetarian meal delivery service. I went through the catapult experience, but I just didn't have the time to do the asynchronous work needed to actually start the business. But I got all the materials together to order steps to be able to do that. I want to do like a kind of sacred sensuality, sexuality school, educational experience. I want to manifest some more like creative writing and do some publishing. I want to, a big interest of mine right beneath all my quadrant of validation, all the life work that I've done. Right beneath that is relationship diversity and just like doing more exploration, more writing, more perhaps helping people strategize, maybe coaching around relationship diversity in the many ways that we connect with each other romantically, platonically, all of that. That's always been an interest of mine since I was little. So I want to there are things that I want to also pull out and be able to express. I'm trying to like the title Black Motherhood Uninterrupted. When when everything happened, when the election happened and, we got what we got right now, I was just like, damn, like I just got to a place and these mofos.
The whole part.
It's fucking up my group, So now there's like this, we always have different levels of concerns about ourselves and in our families, our communities, right? But it was just like, I was just dreaming and executing. And now I got to worry about all this other stuff more acutely now, but within that, my goal is to be a fully realized person and to live a fully realized life and to live a life that is satisfiable to me. I'm still holding that, even with all the bullshit craziness that is happening. I'm still not willing to let that go. I won't let them take that from me, So I'm going to keep coming back to that space within myself and still striving as I continue to do the community work and strategizing and being a helper. I'm still striving to do this too and hold it all.
I love that. I love that you're so many times when you ask people questions about their work, they forget to bring their humanity into it. And I love that you are remembering all the versions of yourself through, through your work, but also not materializing your work as separate from your life. Like these are all different parts of you that you get to honor through work.
Yeah.
In ways that bring you joy and also bring services and examples to all the people around you. So that's super dope.
That's what pleasure activism is for me. It's not just like
now, huh? Okay.
It's like get that book or read that book if you want to. But it's not just like, okay, I'm just gonna do whatever the fuck I want. It's not just that, but knowing myself and the type of person that I am, as I continue to explore all those aspects and pieces and parts of myself, other people are gonna benefit from it. I'm good. I learn so that I can do. I'm more of a practitioner than a teacher educator. I learn so that I can do, so that I can learn, so that I can do. Right. So, and I learned so that I can write. And so I'm always sharing like whatever I'm thinking or my experiences. So folks are going to benefit from me just exploring all these aspects of myself. I wish somebody could pay me to just do that. And then, it's going to be good. Whatever comes out of it.
Can we get the income to just be us? Like, come on. Bring
one day.
It will happen. It will happen. I'm confident of that. Thank you for having this conversation, Medina. I appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been an honor for you to even, hit me up and ask. So, and it's been a pleasure.
Yes. That has been a pleasure. And I'm going to get the book.
Okay,
I'm
get
reading
it.
Love and Corrections right now. So
Okay, I got that one. Yep.
yeah, I just started reading. Actually, well, I started reading it last week, but this morning I pulled it back out. So I was just like, okay, so maybe this is a sign when I get done with this one that I need to go back and read Pleasure Activism because I've been skipping over for a long time. But yeah, I hope you find some more pleasure in life, even through this very interrupted time, and just find ways to love on yourself and your community and your family as you've already been doing. I just hope it continues. And thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, you too.
All right, y'all. Peace. Thank you for tuning in on our conversation. I know the audio, hopefully the audio comes out good, but if it's not great, hopefully you got some words of wisdom from Medina. And we're going to keep having these conversations. So stay tuned next Wednesday. I don't know who I'm talking to yet. There's a couple of people I've reached out to. So I will see y'all during the next Black Motherhood Uninterrupted conversation. Thanks, Medina. All
All right.
right, y'all. Peace.